and welcome to At Home with AJ. I'm glad that you're welcoming the Kingsville Public Library into your home today and that you've joined me in mine. Today we are going to be making old-fashioned glass bottom sugar cookies. And why do we call them that? Well, I will show you that we actually flatten them by using, in the old days, a bottom of a glass, but I had a bowl handy today that makes a nice little imprint in there, and that's how we're going to make them. And I'm actually using a recipe because my great-grandmother used to make these when I was wee little. She lived with us, and it is from her cookbook, which dates back to 1942. And I really like this cookbook because it works with a lot of the basic ingredients. My daughter and I were talking the other night. There was this fabulous picture of this croquembouche, and she opened it up and was all excited. We thought we were going to find a recipe for pâte à choux dough, and no, go and get some pre-made donut holes. And so we got into the discussion about not liking recipes where you had to go out and get other pre-made stuff. One, because you don't know what kind of junk is in that pre-made stuff, and two, it's much more economical to do it yourself. So what better way than we're going to do some spring cookies today, and we're going to make those from scratch. So what you will need is you're going to need some flour, some sugar, some baking powder, some salt, some shortening, some flavoring, and we'll talk about what flavoring in a minute, and some decorative sugar in addition to your sugar, and butter. The ingredients will be listed down in the comments for you so you know what you need and how much you need of it. And it's a really simple recipe. You can mix it up in just a few minutes. It refrigerates for about an hour. You press out the cookies and you have fabulous spring cookies for your next get-together. Okay, so we're going to mix this up, and two things that I forgot to tell you when I was listing our ingredients is that one, you will also need a hand mixer. Otherwise your life is going to be very difficult. And you need an egg. I didn't have it sitting out because I had it hiding in the refrigerator. So you also need an egg, but you'll have to check the comments to get the exact measurements anyway, so that's where the ingredients is at. So the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to take our stick of butter and our shortening, and we're going to put it in the bowl, and we're going to cream it with our hand mixer until it's good and mixed. Nice and creamy. And when that's nice and creamy, then you are going to go ahead and add your sugar into this, and also your egg. And you're just going to mix that until it's well combined. And next we're going to add our flavoring, and I'm going to talk about the options of flavoring here in just a second. Once I get this nice and combined in here, you'll just want to mix that around. One of the reasons that I really like this recipe is because it gives you a lot of choices as far as what kind of cookies you would like to make, or even a variety. Once you get your dough made up, you can actually split it and work your flavoring into it if you like. I've made a couple different batches. I made some with an anise flavoring. I made some with a lemon, which was really good. And I also have some homemade vanilla. That's what I've added this time. If you use vanilla, one of the interesting things about vanilla, if you've ever noticed in the grocery store, one's very expensive and one's not so expensive. And the difference is one's made with alcohol, one's made with water. And of course the good stuff is the stuff that's made with the alcohol because it brings out the flavoring of the vanilla bean. And you can actually make yours at home. I have some that I need to curate. I've been baking a lot since we've been staying at home. But you can just get some vanilla beans. You can order them online. Better in Bulk has them out in Austinburg. They're a fabulous place to shop for all of your good baking stuff. And you just fill the bottle up with middle shelf vodka. You put it in a dark place and let it sit for about 4 to 6 weeks, and you have a vanilla that will make all the difference in the world when you're baking. It definitely brings out the flavor in it. So again, whatever your family prefers, whatever you like, you can throw that flavoring in and make your cookies your own. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the dry ingredients. We're going to add a little bit of salt. And the reason that we put salt in is that that is actually part of science that helps the whole baking, leavening thing that goes on during the chemical process of ingredients getting together and baking. So you'll want to make sure that you add salt anytime that you're baking, because it is part of the chemical reaction that takes place. And we've also put baking powder in there. And baking powder is definitely different from baking soda. The two are not interchangeable. And again, baking powder is one of those leavening agents that's going to make your stuff rise. Ooh, does that make a mess? If you're making cake or cookies that you want to have some volume to them, that is where you will use your baking powder. Baking soda is often used as sort of a neutralizer. So if you're using anything with milk, your baking soda will act as the agent that kind of neutralizes the acidity that is in the milk. So there's your science lesson for today. So now what we're going to do is we're going to gradually add our dry ingredients, and we're just going to add a little bit at a time and mix that around until it's all well combined. So once you get your dough all mixed, it should look like this. Sometimes you can't get it all the way with the hand mixer, and you just got to get your hands in there and mix it up good. It'll be kind of firm, a little bit sticky. We are then going to take some parchment paper or wax paper. I didn't have any wax paper, so I'm using parchment paper. We're going to wrap that up like so, and then it is going to go into the refrigerator for about an hour. So once your dough is out of the refrigerator, you're going to take small pieces of it, break it off, kind of roll it in your hands so that it's in a ball. And it's about the size of, I'm not sure what, maybe like a small donut hole. It's smaller than a golf ball, bigger than a tomato, a cherry tomato or a grape tomato, but you'll get the ball in about that size. You're going to take your fancy little glass bottom, whatever you were able to come up with. You're going to dip it in a shallow pan of water, just like this. And then I have my decorative sugar in here, my little probably my Christmas cookie sugar. You can use regular sugar if you like. And you're going to just put your dish into the sugar. Give it a little turn there. And then you're going to just press nice and firmly right down on your cookie so that it smashes it out. And you're going to have a lovely little design, and your sugar's on there, just like that. And you're just going to repeat that process until you have all of your cookies on your tray, smashed and ready to go. It's a good idea to take a second and kind of look at your design and make sure you're getting as much to the center of the design on the center of your ball as possible. It just makes a prettier cookie when it comes out. So once you get your cookies all smashed down with your glass bottom, they are ready to go into the oven. They're going to cook for about 6 to 8, maybe even 10 minutes, depending on the thickness of your cookie. When they're nice and brown around the edges, and you can even take a peek, lift them up with a spatula a little bit once they've been in there for about 6 minutes to see how they're doing on the bottom. But once they're nice and brown on the bottom and around the edges, they are ready to come out. So we're going to put our cookies in the oven. So after about 6 to 8 minutes, you'll pull your cookies out of the oven. They will be toasty brown around the edges. You'll want to let them cool on the cookie sheet for about 2 minutes, because they'll still be kind of soft when they come out of the oven. And then once they've cooled on the cookie sheet, you'll want to move them over to a wire rack to cool completely. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you did, please like, comment, and share so that your friends can be our friends. If you try this recipe, please post a picture of it in the comments. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can email us at reference@kingsvillelibrary.org. I'm glad that you invited the Kingsville Public Library into your home today, and that you joined me in mine. I hope that you're all staying well, staying safe, and practicing good social distance. In fact, a good way to practice social distance is taking a bunch of these cookies and delivering them to a neighbor's doorstep. So stay healthy, stay well, and I'll see you real soon.